guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to a new video. So we are finally getting the car aligned. It has been a full 2 weeks exactly to the date that I have installed this suspension. So I usually wait 2 weeks or 500 miles, whichever comes first. Usually I wait the 2 weeks because I don't like driving on a car with bad alignment. I don't want to screw up the tires. These are really nice tires. So I usually wait the full 2 weeks. And the reason why is because you want the suspension to settle fully before you get an alignment, because if you don't, and you get an alignment before the car actually settles, it can screw up the alignment a little bit, and I want to make sure that I get everything dialed in perfectly. So we are headed up to my shop, RT Tuning, which you guys know from if you guys have been following for my STI journey. They are my go-to shop. They're out in Montgomeryville, PA. Absolutely love them. I've been going to them for many years now, and they do high quality work. They don't just do Subarus, they do a lot of high-end stuff as well. They do Lamborghinis, they do, you name it, everything. They are amazing at what they do. And the suspension tech, Pat, over there, Patrick, he is amazing at what he does. He's actually aligned my STI, aligned my truck, and now he's gonna be aligning my M3. So we're really going to get this thing dialed in. Now I'm going to take you guys along on the whole journey. I'm going to show you some pictures or get some clips of the car up on the alignment rack, just kind of getting it done and getting everything sorted out. What I'm actually going for is a pretty simple alignment spec. Now I don't want anything crazy. I don't need any crazy camber. As you can tell, it is sitting perfectly on the passenger rear. That is kind of where I want it to sit in terms of the camber. I love the way that the fender is flat against the tire. I did drive around a little bit. I did do highway speeds. I was, doing 75, 80, going over bumps and everything, and it did not scrub at all anywhere. So having it like this is kind of where I want it on the rear. Now I do believe the toe is kind of facing in a little bit, kind of hard to tell here, but it is kind of tilted in a little bit. So we're going to straighten that out. But I'm curious what the camber is for here, and I'm going to try to match that. So that's the kind of look and the stance that I want, at least for the rear. Now the front, as you can tell, there is a little bit of camber, not too much, nothing crazy, but I do want to dial that out. My main goal is to try to get back to OEM spec. Now OEM spec is about 1.5 in the front and negative 1.2 in the rear, I believe, from what I found. So depending on where it's sitting right now, I'm kind of curious of what the specs are before we do the alignment, but I may dial it in a little bit more. I may do negative 1.5 in the rear and around -2 up front. We will see how things look. I don't want to go too crazy. I obviously want as much tire on the road because I'm not going to be doing any crazy driving or track driving with this. So I want as least camber as possible just to keep the tires looking good and performing well. And also I want a very nice kind of flush fitment. As you can tell right there, the front is a little cambered in, and I really don't need that much for this car because the fenders are so wide. So we can really dial that out. But obviously I will take you guys along. I'll show you everything, what the specs were prior or what they are currently, and then what we ended up with. I'll show you kind of the full walk around. But in terms of heights, I don't want to change it. I'm exactly where I want to be. So as you can see on this side, it is a little bit cambered in on the driver's side rear. So we can definitely dial that out. On the front over here, it's a little bit better in terms of the camber. I think that's sitting very nicely, but we can probably dial some out, but we will see. I want to see where it's sitting before we make some adjustments. But my main goal is to keep it conservative, not to go too crazy. I don't need to run any crazy camber on this car like I did with my STI. My STI was running negative 4.1, which was a lot. While it did look good, it's just really not that practical in terms of tire wear and also just for performance. I don't need to be running that much on this car with the wide fenders and kind of the setup that I got going on here. So we're going to go for a really nice kind of aggressive, conservative alignment spec. Now, some people may be asking, am I going to get a corner balance? At this point, no, because I do not have adjustable end links. If you have adjustable end links, you are able to get a corner balance, at least a proper one. But the suspension tech Pat over at RT Tuning is very good at what he does. So even just doing the alignment and kind of adjusting the coilovers to get everything, as best as possible, he does a pretty good job at corner balancing it without any adjustable end links. So it's going to be dialed in not just for camber and toe specs. It's also going to be dialed in terms of corner balancing as well, at least as close as possible as they can possibly get. So it's not only going to look good, but it's going to perform very well, and I'm very much looking forward to it. As I mentioned, I did about 20-30 miles or so, maybe a little bit more on the car. I had to get some gas and everything, and again, I was just doing some kind of testing on the road, making sure I wasn't scrubbing anywhere or any noises or anything after doing all the suspension work. And I'm happy to report there's nothing. Everything drives beautifully. However, I did notice the car feels a little squirrely right now just because the alignment's all out of spec. I'm really curious to see how this car feels with the KWs on. I haven't been able to really push it yet because of the alignment. Feels a little funky right now. And also the steering wheel as well. It's kind of a few degrees to the left. So getting that dialed in and straightened out is definitely going to obviously make the car drive better and feel better. So I'm really looking forward to it. All right, so I also want to get you some quick measurements of the car, front and rear, just so you can see where I'm sitting currently. All right, so the best way to measure, the way that I do it, is I measure it from the bottom of the lip of the wheel. So if we look right here, I measure it at the bottom right here to the top of the fender. The reason why I do that is because this is stationary. The ground can be unlevel at times, wherever you may be. And we are at 22 3/8, just about. So that is where we're sitting in the front. Now let's go to the rear. All right, so this is the passenger rear. Let's do the same exact thing. We are sitting at 21 3/4 of an inch. I will catch back up with you guys tomorrow morning when we're headed up to RT Tuning. It's about an hour drive or so it's not too bad. Should be fun, and I'm looking forward to it. Should be a nice early morning autumn drive up to my shop, RT Tuning, to get the alignment done. All right, good morning, guys. We are on our way to RT. It is an absolutely beautiful autumn morning. It is 48 degrees, and this is my kind of weather. I much prefer this cooler weather than the really hot and humid. So I got about an hour left, so not too bad. But yeah, it's gonna be a nice little drive. But we're cruising 80 miles an hour, no scrubbing, no scraping, which is a complete surprise for how low I am. And yeah, really happy. So really looking forward to getting everything sorted out. So if you can see, the steering wheel is a little to the left. Granted, I am on a little bit of a curve, but this is pretty much the angle that it is at currently. So that will get straightened out as well. The car's driving amazing. Honestly, this is my first longer drive with the KWs, and they are unbelievably comfortable. Way more comfortable than stock, even without the EDC. I couldn't be happier. I haven't even messed with the rebound and the bump or anything like that, or the damping. So yeah, so I'm really looking forward to kind of getting into that, but I figured I would get the car aligned, get it set up, and then we'll go from there. All right, guys, sorry the sun is a little harsh. It's in the afternoon, but we're working with what we got. So here is the car after the alignment. Again, I am so thrilled with how everything turned out. I mean, the fitment on the rear, if we go up to the front, absolutely perfect. We'll go around to the passenger side as well. You can see a little bit better because of the light. There is the rear passenger fitment, and then here is the front passenger fitment. I have been driving for the past, I don't know, hour or so. No scraping, no rubbing anywhere, and it has been absolutely flawless. So to say that I'm over the moon is an understatement. After everything that I've done to this car, I'm finally getting it set up with the KW V3 suspension, as well as the Volk TE37s and the Falcon RT 660s. I'll probably end up doing a review on these once I get some more miles, but for the short time, the 150 miles I have on them so far, they are absolutely amazing. And today is beautiful. It's like 65 degrees out. So I was definitely putting it through its paces, and the tires are gripping like crazy. So let's head back to the garage. We're gonna take some final measurements with the tape measure so you guys can see if anything changed based on the camber and everything that was adjusted during the alignment. But I just wanna give a huge shout out to Pat and everybody at RT Tuning. Once again, they are my favorite shop. If you guys are in the tri-state area or you're willing to travel, definitely hit up RT Tuning. They're out in Montgomeryville, PA. They are top notch. Honestly, they do pretty much anything that you can possibly imagine. They do trucks, they do cars, they do everything. They do race cars. It's pretty crazy the kind of versatility that shop has. And I've been going to them for almost over 3 years now. And every single time I come out of the shop and whatever it is that I need installed or get done, they always do it with flying colors. So huge shout out to RT Tuning. My guy David, make sure you go hit him up and say Chris sent you. He'll hook you up and get you some good deals. But yeah, I'm actually going to do a quick exhaust video because I need to get some exhaust clips with the Active Auto Works mid pipe. I'm currently in the middle of making that video, so I figured I'll do it here since it's a nice open area. So I'm going to do that. But as for this video, we'll jump back into the garage and wrap this video up. All right, guys, so we are back in the garage. It has been a few days, but what I want to do is show you the measurements on the tape measure to kind of see where everything fell, and also show you the alignment specs. Everything went within factory spec, which I'm very, very happy about. So let's head over to the workbench and I'll show you exactly what the specs landed on. All right, so we'll look over here first. This is the driver front. Before it was at -1.5 and we went over to -1.7. The toe before was actually at 0.04. The specified range, this is the factory spec, 0.05 to 0.12. So we are good there. On the passenger front, it was at -1.6 and they just brought it to -1.5. So we're roughly 0.2 degrees off either side. Now the front camber on these cars, you have to get camber plates to really dial things in. There's slight adjustments to be had from the stock hardware, but not much. So if you really want to kind of dial that in, you really have to get camber plates, but being that close, it's not a big deal at all. So if we look at the rear, my driver rear was at -2.4, so pretty aggressive. And then we got it to -1.9. And on the passenger rear, it was at -1.3. And then they matched it to -1.9. So all in all, I'm around -1.5, 1.7 up front and -1.9 in the rear. So under -2 is exactly where we wanted to be. Again, this is within factory spec. So this factory range here is within -2 to -1.5. So same thing on this side. The toe was pretty darn off on the passenger rear, was at 1 degree, which is pretty darn crazy. And they brought it to 0.16 and 0.11. So it's towed in just a little bit, which is perfect, which is great for handling. And yeah, very, very happy with the overall look, the overall feel. I can't tell you how great the car just drives and handles. It's pretty darn amazing. The car feels extremely direct. So when I was driving back home, you know, I was doing 80 or so, whatever the speed limit. And if I wanted to change lanes, immediately, if I put any input into the steering wheel, it just pretty much went exactly where I put it. It was perfect. I absolutely loved it. And it gave me that feeling that I had with my 846 M3 with the KW V2s. I had that exact feeling like, whoa, this feels pretty amazing. So let's just take a quick measurement on the front and the rear. Again, the driver side is exactly the same. So we're just going to do the passenger side here. But let's go ahead and take our measurements. All right, so the passenger front, so I got it under the lip right there, and we are at 22 3/8. All right, so this is the passenger rear. I got the tape measure on the bottom of the lip, and we come up to the fender, and we are at 21 5/8. All right, so as you're able to tell, the front stayed exactly the same, but the rear went down actually 1/8 of an inch on both sides. And the reason was because the corner on this side was a little bit lower than the driver's side, and then the driver rear was a little bit lower than this side. So it just evened everything out, and it ended up going down about 1/8 of an inch on either side, but the front stayed exactly the same. So very, very happy with that. To be honest, I didn't want to go any lower in the front because I am extremely low from the front lip. And thankfully, I don't have any scraping issues, which I was very, very nervous of. I know I said this 1,000 times in the video, but I really could not be happier with how this thing turned out. I'm so happy to be able to drive it now and kind of really get a feel of the suspension and just, you know, all this hard work that I've been putting into this car. I'm just so thrilled how everything just came together, and it's my exact vision. Now you may be thinking to yourself, oh, he's done. He's not going to do anything more. You're entirely wrong. There's plenty more stuff coming. I have a huge list of things that I still want to do to this car, but I will say I'm going to be enjoying this car in its current form for a little bit. I did a lot this year. I still have quite a few things coming before the end of this year, so there's still going to be some modification installs and videos and all that stuff. But I just want to say, you know, I'm very, very happy with where this has gone and where it's sitting currently. It's always very rewarding when you have a vision in your head and you're like, oh, I hope I can do that one day, and then it comes to life. not only, exactly the way you want it, but it comes to life so quickly. I'm in a fortunate position where, doing this stuff to my cars not only rewards myself, but it also rewards you guys as well, because I'm able to help you along the way, kind of show you my vision, kind of show you my thoughts, and help people decide on this modification that I may be doing on the car, kind of walk you through the install, give very, very detailed, step-by-step videos, so there's no, confusion when you are installing something. And also the reviews that I do as well, kind of walk you through it. Sometimes it may be for me, but hearing my review and my thoughts and everything, maybe it's not for you. That is why I do these videos, not for likes, subscriptions, or anything like that. I truly just enjoy helping people and hopefully leading them in the right direction. So when they modify their cars or they do something, even for the first time, that they are confident that they can do it themselves and that they can also appreciate what they're actually doing and not just throwing something on the car just to do it. All right, guys, so I'm going to wrap the video up here. I hope you enjoyed kind of taking you guys along on the full alignment at RT Tuning with my F80 M3. Very, very much enjoyed the process. Again, if you guys are in the tri-state area and you're looking for a very, very reputable shop that knows what they're doing and does it correctly, hit up RT Tuning. I promise you, you won't be disappointed. But yeah, guys, if you have any questions at all about the car, about the alignment, or anything else, please leave them in the comments below. But in the meantime, keep it clean, keep it simple. I'll catch you guys in the next one.